Hello, it's Cecilia Towns, the Sporty Esquire, and I'm here with another episode of Working Women Wednesday, the series where I pull from my experiences as a former athlete, an attorney, an entrepreneur to help you excel in your career. Last week, we talked about being a good asker, perfecting the way you ask for help so that you're getting more yeses than nos. Well, after that, I sat down and I thought about, the asking that I've done in my career. And, I have asked for help and had some great people help me. But I also realized that the thing that has helped me move forward in my career more than asking for help, is actually pulling from my experience as an athlete. I think that a lot of people who play sports are not always cognizant that the things that we're doing day in and day out as an athlete really are we're developing these transferable skills. And that if, people who are athletes, if they get to the point, or when they get to the point of transitioning to life after sports, if they had an understanding that all the things they were doing in sports is really preparing them for the life after sports, their transition would just be so much better. So today's message is for people who didn't play sports and want to try to get an edge like an athlete, and the athletes who have the edge and they just need to understand kind of how they have the edge and what they should be doing to figure out their life after sports. So let's jump right in. One of the things that every athlete does is they set a goal. And even if they don't set it for themselves, somebody is setting the goal for them, a coach or something. But setting a goal is so important in the life of an athlete because it really is, it gives you the vision and it gives you your reason for doing what you're doing, for putting in the countless hours at practice, watching film. Your goal is your vision. And for an athlete, sometimes the goal is sometimes different. Sometimes it's as big as winning a championship. Sometimes it's as small as perfecting a shot. I remember, playing tennis and spending literally an entire practice, an hour, hour and a half, working on one shot. And, as someone who doesn't play sports, that might sound crazy to just keep hitting your backhand over and over again, hundreds of times. But as an athlete, it's not crazy at all. I'm trying to be able to hit this one target on the tennis court. So it's worth swinging my racket hundreds and hundreds of times because that's my goal and that's what's important. So do the same thing at work. When you're at work, set a goal. If it's to get the promotion, set the goal. If it's to get a raise, set the goal, because that keeps you from getting complacent at work and it drives you to work and work hard. So that actually brings me to the second point, which is athletes prepare, and they prepare like relentlessly. Their preparation is hours of practice, hours of watching film, hours of lifting, hours of stretching, hours of treating their body right with their food, and it pays off in the end. And that's what you have to do at work. Once you've set the goal to get that promotion or to get that raise, you have to be willing to outwork everybody else, out-practice everybody else, stay longer, study harder, ask more of the important questions. Do the things that other people aren't necessarily willing to do to prepare yourself for whatever goal you have set. If the goal is really to get the new job, you need to be hustling day in and day out to prepare for that interview. You need to be researching the people that are going to be interviewing you, the company that you're interviewing with. You need to make sure that you know exactly how your skills align for that specific task or that specific job. Just prepare like it's nobody's business, so that when it's time to do step 3, which is perform, you are 110% ready. Athletes, when they prepare in a way so that when they get out there, everything that they're doing is really kind of instinctual. Usually athletes have put in so much time that, when it's time to play, they're not thinking about it. They're just doing because they've practiced so hard. I go back to my experience as a tennis player. I wasn't out there thinking, okay, when you first learn to hit a forehand, it's like, take the racket back, drop it down, follow through. You have practiced, by the time you get to a tennis match, you've practiced that shot so much that none of that is even a thought in your mind. What you're thinking about is hitting a specific target. That's how you want to be at work. You want to know that whenever, you're, in a meeting or something, somebody throws a question at you, you're so prepared with your information that it's second nature to give these answers. That when you're in the interview, you know exactly what you're talking about. You don't have to flounder about because you have done the work beforehand and you're just ready to perform. So there shouldn't ever be a moment when you're freezing up because you've prepared for this and you're ready for it. So after you prepare, you also have to be willing to do step 4, which is to adjust. Every athlete on the planet has had a moment where they're in the middle of a game and they're like, I'm getting my ass kicked. It's just a part of participating in sports. And the good athletes, the athletes who are not quitters, the athletes who are mentally tough, they adjust. They say, okay, well, my free throw or, isn't, I can't say free throw. I didn't play basketball. I'm just going to stick to my experiences. My forehand isn't working like it should be working. So I'm going to have to go to my backhand. Or I'm going to have to do more volleying, get to the net because my forehand is failing me. You need to be able to do the same thing at work. When you're working a strategy and it's a losing strategy, don't keep doing the same thing. Be willing to adjust. Be able to show your bosses, your coworkers, your clients that even though things don't always go well, you're still very capable of figuring out the problem and adjusting. Adjust, bounce back, and I promise you that'll give you an edge over other people. Learning to be comfortable with solving problems, it shows you to be a winner. And so that brings me to the 5th and final thing that athletes do very well or good athletes do very well, is that they always do a recap. So whether you win or lose a game, one of the things you always do is you go back and you watch the film, or you go back and you look at coach's notes. And what that does is it highlights the things that you're able to do very well or the things that you did well so that you are cognizant of them and willing and able to do those continuously in the future. But it also highlights the things that you didn't do well so that you can say, oh, well, I can improve on this, or, this is such a weakness that we're just going to avoid it in the future. You have to do the same thing at work. There's going to be projects that you work on. There's going to be tasks that you work on that are going to go exactly and even better than you thought they would go. But there's also going to be things that you do that are going to just be a flop, or they're going to take more time than you thought it was going to take. So every time you sort of complete a task at work, make sure you're doing the same thing. Do an assessment of that memo that you wrote and, that the judge actually, sided with you on. What were the key elements that the judge said, hey, these are good. This is why I agree with you. Or, what were talk to your boss. You didn't get the promotion. Ask your boss, well, why didn't I get the promotion? Why didn't I get the job that I wanted? Let me know what I need to improve on so that you can go back and improve. The recap is really, really important. But that's it. If you want to excel, you want to get an edge on other people at work, just do it like an athlete. Set the goal, prepare relentlessly, just do it, go out and perform, make adjustments when necessary, and do your recap so that you can improve. It's just that simple. My name is Cecilia Towns. I'm the Sporty Esquire, and this has been another episode of Workin' Women Wednesday. Thank you so much for your time. Make sure you share this video, like this video, comment, and I'll see you next week. Bye.